Hi everyone, it's great to see you again. I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin up 1.33% to 67,411. Ethereum down 0.23% to 4770. My goal is to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, and also gain real wealth in the process. Inside our community, we have a really balanced perspective, not about crypto, but all about everything really. We look at real wealth inside the community. Real wealth is everything that gives money true value. Being rich and wealthy is fantastic, of course, that's the focus. But being really wealthy in terms of inner and outer peace, fulfillment and meaning, purpose, empathy and love, they're also incredibly important. We do a separate series on real wealth. If you like that kind of thing, and I believe you should look at it, it's really important. You can see that in our real wealth series. Let's have a look at Bitcoin's technical analysis and price targets. We've reached the 61,897 price target that was set yesterday. Congratulations, Bitcoin. We're going up towards the next target of 73,638. Michael asked me on Twitter, many thanks Ken for your videos. What do you think of BC backers' theories about Bitcoin topping out between 75 to 80k? So 75 to 80k would be around this particular area. One thing that we find in crypto technical analysis is that normal technical analysis, can often be misleading. Using particular TA tools that were designed for far slower markets can give misleading results. That's just the tools, not the people. BC Backer I have a lot of respect for. When it comes down to this target, we need to think about Bitcoin in terms of global adoption. Almost 5 months ago, I made the prediction that Bitcoin will hit 486,000 by the 25th of May 2022. That's in this Medium article. You can find a link in the description of this video. One very important thing that we need to do is to zoom out. Bitcoin and crypto is all about adoption. If you haven't had an opportunity to read this article, I would suggest that you do so. You'll find it quite interesting. I'll just go down to the section on adoption. I tend to go through the model and break it down so you can get a better understanding of what is happening. This technological adoption curve is really important. A lot of people misunderstand what Bitcoin and crypto, digital assets, are all about. Crypto is all about the upgrade of the old internet to the internet of money, the internet of value. When we do a comparison between the old internet, that's this white line here, and compare the growth of the internet back from 1992 to 2006, this is the growth of crypto from 2016 to 2030. We can see that we're growing far more rapidly in crypto than we ever did with the internet. Can you imagine not having the internet? Could you survive one day without it now? The internet has become ubiquitous. It's just part of the fabric of life now. It will be exactly the same with crypto going forward. It's really helpful to understand just how much money is in the world. There's a lot more money in the world than many people think that could exist. This is also really interesting. This was back in 2020. Only 7% of the money supply was actually physical. 93% was intangible. That means it was digital. It was represented only by zeros and ones inside the banking system's computers. We literally are already in the digital money age. It's just that many people don't realize it. Just try this. If you have a couple of $100,000, or you know someone that has a couple of $100,000 in the bank, just go up to them and say, just try to withdraw 100,000 or 30,000 from the bank. You literally need a week to get your money. It's just crazy. It's because they don't have it. They actually have to go and hunt around to find the money. This is the banking system we're talking about. That's why all governments need to work towards central bank digital currencies. And in order to do that, they have to legitimize cryptos. It's just part of the process. That's a really interesting thing to consider. But if we actually go through the money supply, the global money supply, we can see that it's thousands of trillions of dollars. Global wealth, just adding everything up, even the derivatives market is $1 quadrillion. There's a lot of money out there. Many people think that the crypto market can't rival the market cap of gold. Going back to 2020, we can see that the stock market globally was $95 trillion and the bond market around $128 trillion. When you think about the gold market and how big that is, approximately 10 trillion, and getting less by the day, unfortunately, with gold going down. The concept of 10% of the stock market, which is about 9.5, let's call it $10 trillion, and about $13 trillion, 10% of the bond market flowing in there, we easily surpass the market capitalization of gold. Easily. Fidelity Investments understands this particular adoption curve very well. They've got quantitative analysts working for them, statisticians, people who really understand numbers, and business people, senior management consultants that understand adoption, innovation diffusion, so many important concepts. They predict, Fidelity Investments predicts, that by 2026 onwards, one Bitcoin will be in excess of $1 million, and by 2030, one Bitcoin will be in excess of $10 million. They're really big figures, but when you consider that Bitcoin was trading below 1 cent, it really makes sense. You can think about Bitcoin sitting right now at $67,284 and just say, wow, it started at virtually zero and it's making its way up. And it's making its way up by a mathematical equation. Conventional technical analysis was applied to Bitcoin's price in May. People predicted Bitcoin would go to $10,000 all the way down here. I said mathematically that can't happen unless there's a black swan. We were in this May correction. That's actually when the crypto trading KS community started. As the price was going down, I hammered in the $30,000 low literally when it occurred, way before people said it was a low, and I stuck to my guns, as I do because I run the numbers. I looked at it and said, in all probability, that is capitulation. We would expect a turnaround within that $30,000 range, and that is exactly what happened. But my opinion was not popular at that stage. A lot of people in the community did incredibly well by going in at that $30,000 mark when the market turned around. What I'm actually estimating is that Bitcoin will hit 486,000 by the 25th of May 2022. This is on the basis of my statistical calculations and also 30 plus years in financial markets. We always have to think about the best and the worst case scenarios. I believe that the minimum, absolute minimum high for Bitcoin is $132,418. This is related to the mathematical properties of Bitcoin. One thing that I did with the KS model, I was the first person to actually start to hammer in the bear market lows of the next cycle. I believe they're going to be between $43,320 and $72,900. It really depends how far Bitcoin comes up and the resulting drawdown. I believe that the bear market, crypto winter, will happen, but there are so many opportunities in crypto winter. We don't have to pack up and go away. There's so many opportunities. Crypto trading is literally a full-time profession. Just like a doctor, engineer, lawyer, school teacher, anything. This does not stop. It's just like saying, oh, you know, back in 2000 the internet took off and then there was a crash, the dot-com bubble burst, and everybody just left the internet. Wow, can you imagine if you had have stayed around? There's an interesting piece of news that Apple CEO Tim Cook says he owns Bitcoin. He does own Bitcoin for his personal portfolio, and he thinks it's reasonable to own it as part of a diversified portfolio. He has no plans for Apple accepting Bitcoin, but it's really interesting that the co-founder of Apple, Steve Wozniak, said something different. He said Bitcoin is mathematical purity. There can never be another Bitcoin created. This creates absolute scarcity. And what we know from economics, scarce resources go up in value. Popular quantitative analyst Plan B believes the top of the Bitcoin cycle is months away, perhaps 6 months. He believes that we will be within the $100,000 to $135,000 range by the end of the year, and he would not be surprised if Q1 or Q2 next year prices 3, 4, 500,000 are possible. Plan B understands the mathematics just like I do. That's why I wrote the article predicting many months ago $486,000 by May the 25th, 2022. That was a long way around, just explaining the answer to Michael's comment. As far as targets are concerned, all price moves in waves. We would expect a blow-off top. That occurs when price increases exponentially and unsustainably. We're realistically a long way away from that. If we look at Google Trends for the search term Bitcoin, we can see interest in the term is increasing, but it's still quite low. It's below the blow-off top. There's no mania in the market. There's always positive and negative news in the market. We still have the Evergrande saga. The Evergrande is still missing bond payments, but they're getting magically extended. We know the tapering is in process. The Mt. Gox rehabilitation of about $9 billion in Bitcoin will be happening on November the 20th. Janet Yellen is going after unrealized capital gains tax. The debt ceiling needs to be discussed December the 23rd. The Ripple case is ongoing. We know that the SEC and various government agencies have crypto in the crosshairs, but that's all part of adoption. There's also a lot of positive news. The Bitcoin Taproot upgrade is estimated to occur on November the 16th. That is a very significant upgrade. And we've also had a lot of really positive news. Now, how do we deal with this? How do we contextualize everything? We just trade the chart that we view. We don't panic. Any negative news doesn't mean it's over, and any positive news doesn't mean it's going to go to the moon. We just trade the chart that we view. That's all about probabilistic fearlessness. This is covered in the Real Wealth series. We're aware of the risks. We know the upside and the downside, and we just say, yeah, okay, we'll just play with the chart in front of us and see what happens there. We have in advance probabilistic choices set up. We understand the upside and the downside, and we know what we're doing. We're not leaning to any particular direction. We're just aware of the momentum in the market. We can see that we have really good support for Bitcoin's price coming up here on this particular trend, this support line. We also have confluences of support around the 61,897 mark. If we manage to come down, and that would be a good thing, because we want cheaper Bitcoin and we want to buy our beloved alts at better prices, because we know no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. We can see alts coming up as Bitcoin comes up, and we can especially see, for example, in May, when everything started to crash, all the alts bled much more than Bitcoin did. This is the way of the crypto market. Bitcoin is essential to track. Any particular downward price momentum should be caught at these two target levels of support, 55,590 and 49,305. A lot of people, when they look at the stock and the bond market and crypto, they just say, oh, I'm just in crypto, I don't care about stocks or bonds. Or they say, I'm in the stock market, I don't care about the bond market or crypto. Or I'm in the bond market, yeah, they do care about stocks, and they've got crypto on their radar. The concept is that money is always flowing between these three major buckets. I always do my best to give you the absolute greatest quality content. What we see here is this is Bitcoin. Now I want to show you how different markets relate. Up here in this top left hand corner is the VIX. What you should see is this really big spike in the VIX. The VIX is the fear gauge of the stock market. The fear gauge spiked up. What did we see? When the VIX spiked up, that signified Bitcoin selling off. And Bitcoin sold off really, really hard. That was the COVID black swan, the US liquidity crisis. What we can see is the DXY, the US dollar currency index, this bottom left-hand one, wobbled around a heck of a lot, went a little bit banana. If we're getting anything similar to that, we'll know to risk off. At the moment, everything is fine, but we need to be careful of the markets. Now, don't take this as a sign to sell. Please watch the real wealth videos and look at the light switch effect. It's really important that you don't suffer from that. That's a zone 1, zone 2 kind of behavior. It's very expensive. We can see the NASDAQ 100 rallying strongly up. We can see the fear gauge is below resistance. So this is all looking very positive. We can see Bitcoin seeking to break out to new highs. This is fantastic stuff. We can see it just looking on the daily chart. We're very zoomed out. When we look at bond prices, what are we looking at? We can see bond prices have been under very, very steep resistance for quite a degree of time. They're starting to break out. Now, what happened when bond prices, well, what happened to bond prices before Bitcoin sold off? If you keep your eye on this blue highlighted one, and also Bitcoin, not easy, I know, but you can see Bitcoin was coming up, and you look at bond prices, they were starting to go parabolic, starting to go up the wall. That is a sign that we need to worry. We're not getting any kind of figure like that out of the charts at the moment, but we always need to be aware. That doesn't mean just because it's peaking itself over resistance and turning it to support, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world or anything. What about bond yields? We can see bond yields are very much under resistance too. They've had a level of support. They're coming back to test that level. Now, what happened to Bitcoin and what happened to bond yields? This is this correlation that we're always seeking. We can see here Bitcoin coming up and up as the bond yields started to collapse. You can see them collapsing here. And then what happened? Bitcoin collapsed. I'm not suggesting Bitcoin is going to collapse or anything like that. We're all about being professional. We trade the chart that we view. The chart that we view is very good for Bitcoin. It's looking fantastic. We're just aware that all the markets are intercorrelated. They're all interconnected. We can see gold starting to break out. What happened to gold? Again, we look at Bitcoin. This is why it's here. If you like, this is a kind of early warning system. We can see, looking at gold and looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin was coming up. Just keep your eye on the gold chart. Bitcoin was coming up, peaked here, and then started to sell off. The bottom was here. Notice what's happening with gold. It's going up, but after the sell-off concluded. What about light crude oil and comparing it across to Bitcoin? What do we see here? Bitcoin was going up. Look at light crude oil just decaying. Bitcoin up, and like crude oil, just falling through the floor. That was a horrible thing to watch. What about the US dollar currency index? Again, when Bitcoin was going up, it was going up with it, and then it plummeted in value when Bitcoin started to weaken, and then it shot up. Very interesting behavior, isn't it? We're going to be looking at this each day. This is part of our early warning system. But the thing is, I don't want you to panic. If you see prices going up and things moving in a specific way, please never panic. That's all part of Zone 1 and Zone 2 behavior. That Zone 1 and Zone 2 behavior will cost you a fortune. I'm actually referring to KSZone analysis when I talk about Zone 1, panic zone, Zone 2, blame zone, Zone 3, patience and rules, probabilistic fearlessness. That's where we approach the market from. Zone 4 is the meaning zone. This is where money makes sense. Money can give you a beautiful life, but if you don't have meaning, it can be a very empty life. I don't want that for you. I want you to have the most beautiful life you can possibly have. It should make a lot of sense why we look at the proxies for different investments. The S&P 500 up 32% for the past year. Gold down 4% for the past year. It's repairing. That's good to see. And Bitcoin up 337% for the past 12 months. Euphoria, which is this blue, this exponential blow off top, and capitulation, which is the red, they're hallmarks of the Bitcoin crypto market. We can see in Bitcoin net unrealized profit and loss, NUPL. We can see that we're nowhere near the blue and nowhere near the red. We're just on the path. When euphoria hits, the number of new addresses in Bitcoin just goes parabolic. We're seeing a ramp up, but nothing parabolic. That means we're early. Also, when we get to the top, the number and total transfer volume to exchanges tends to spike up. We're so low. We're just not seeing any kind of top behavior at the moment. Looking at the KS model, going back to the 2016 bull run, you have to be really prepared for 20, 30, 40, and even 50% decreases in price. They're very ugly to experience, but it's just part of the crypto market. Fortunately, we have 90, 40, 70, 20, 50, and hundreds of percent increases on the other side, so it's not all bad. The real key for you is to make in advance probabilistic choices. I've tried to give you a really extensive run through on the headwinds facing Bitcoin as well as the positives. I go from a neutral perspective. As a trader, trading positively or negatively is no problem. We just want to be on the right side of the trade. So for example, keep your eyes on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, at least for now, rules the crypto industry. If Bitcoin is going up, all of the cryptos are going up. When we look at the Bitcoin stablecoin supply ratio SSR oscillator, we can see stablecoins coming into the market and being funded into Bitcoin. This is supporting higher prices. Basically, everything is a green light for today. We need to keep our eyes on this every single day. Things can change around very quickly in the crypto market. Please always keep Rule 45 in mind. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. It's really, really important. If you understand this, you know Bitcoin moves the crypto market. Still, so many influencers do not understand this. I don't know why, but they don't. I can hear it in how they speak. And yet a lot of other influencers do understand it. That's really, really important. The key is that you understand it. I'd like to thank all the very kind and generous community members who've reached out and shown their appreciation by buying me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/cryptotradingks. I'd like to especially thank Brad and Crypto Trader. Many times there are private messages below these particular comments, and I just want to say I so appreciate the very nice things that you say and how people are moving through the various levels. It's just fantastic. As my way of saying thank you to the very kind and generous community members who buy me a coffee, I put posts out each month. All you do when you're logged in, you just click posts and you will see all these different rules that I go through. They're very valuable and they can help make you a lot of money. It's just my way of saying thank you for your generosity. We've covered an enormous amount of ground, but I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. Please say hi and let me know where you're viewing from and if you have any questions. I'd like to give you a special bonus because you've hung around to the end. You are fantastic. Let's have a look at Hex. I want to show you something really interesting. If you go in and have a look at Hex, you'll see some really bizarre price movement. What are we looking at? $33 billion of market cap, $1.3 million of volume. You can see here on that edge, 1.34, 1.24, 1.26, 1.35. This is not the trading volume of a market cap of something worth $33 billion. This does not have volume integrity, which is one of the videos that I put out into the coffee club. You have to be really careful of these sort of projects. If $1 million of volume can increase the project's value by billions of dollars, what happens when there's sell pressure of $1 million? What does that do to the price of this? Of course, it collapses it. This is just a secret tip that you need to look out for when you're actually analyzing cryptos. If you think that this has helped or you've got up to this stage, could you say something about volume and something about integrity? Let's just make it our secret code in the comments section. Ooh, how fun. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.